Richard. Good deal. Okay, perfect.
Okay, clicking got it on here. Okay, well, thanks everyone for coming back and for being here. And I guess we'll just go ahead and get started. We'll see how many things, if we can keep it flowing today. But if there's anything where it's just completely confusing, do stop me and ask a question if you would like to, if you have a question. Okay, so I guess we'll just get started. So the first one we're going to do is the commencing form. So we're going to start with our hands on our lap, and we're going to raise our arms up to about between 1 and 2 o'clock, fingers hanging down, arms very loose. And then we palms are kind of toward the wall in front of us on the way down. So fingertips are the last thing down. So it's like we're little like brush strokes with our hands on the way up, breathing in, on the way down, pushing the air out and breathing out. So we'll do this a few more times with our breath. So coming up and down, up and down. And we'll do one more, up and down. And the next one we'll do is broadening one's chest, which we've talked about before. So when our hands come down to our laps, we're going to come up as we just did, except open up at shoulder height with our palms toward the ceiling. And as soon as they're fully extended, we're going to come back together in front of us and back down toward our laps. So they come up about the same height as in the commencing form, and then open up to the sides with our palms facing the ceiling, and then back down slowly. They kind of come up to come down, but yes, so we're going to come up and open out to our sides, and then up and down. And of course, in this one, like before, we can take our breaths on the way up. So coming up, taking our breath in as we come up and open, and then breathe out on the way down. And if any of this is too long of a breath, because I know that's a thing that we practice, you can always kind of break it up, and on the way up, breathe in, out as you open up. So if taking these very long breaths, I'm still moving while I'm talking, but if I just wanted to let you know that if that's an issue, you can break that down, because some of these are long breaths. So next, when our hands are at our lap, again, we're going to do dancing with rainbows. So we're going to come up, and one hand is going to come out. So my right hand is coming out to the side, hand toward the ceiling as before, and my other hand is kind of around my head. So my fingertips are close to my ear. And so we're going to take a deep breath in and switch. And that other palm is toward the ceiling, and then switch. So we don't want to hold it too long, because we're here for the movement. So as soon as we get over, we switch. So I'm back over, I'm to my left side now, and switching. Okay, fully to the right, and now I'm switching. So both arms in the middle, they are kind of overhead. So everyone that I can see is doing well. So I'm switching. Okay, and we'll do one more over to the other side, and come back to our laps. Now from here, we're going to do circling the arms. So from our hands on our laps, we're going to cross our hands in front of us, so our palms are facing toward us. We're going to come up overhead, and our arms are going to come straight up and make circles. So we're going to be making circular motions, like one on each side. And then we come back in front of our knees, our hands cross again, just as we did before, coming up, and then open up to make big circles with our arms. So coming back together, crossing, coming up, and then pushing the air out. We're breathing in as we come up and breathing out on the way down. And that's kind of an easy shortcut way to think about it. So coming up and circling to the sides. And we'll do one more here. So after this one, we're going to do rowing the boat. So I'm just telling you so that we can flow into the next one. Okay, so as we're back down toward our laps, we always kind of stop there in these forms. We're going to reach back. So we're going to just put our hands to the side of our knees, reach back with our hands toward the back wall, and then they come up and they're going to naturally rotate. And then they're going to come straight overhead and then back down toward our laps. So as we come down toward our laps, we just keep sweeping through. So our hands are going to sweep back. For a while they're toward the ceiling, then our shoulders have to rotate because arms don't move that way, and then they come back toward our laps. So we'll do this a couple more times. So reaching back, up, shoulders rotate. So it's as close to the circle as we can get, sort of to our sides, but our arms won't allow it to be a perfect circle. So we'll do, after this one, when we come back to our lap, we'll do carrying the moon. So we're at our lap. So I'm taking my right hand, like I have a little orange or tennis ball in it, and I'm going to take my right hand toward the left corner of the room, and I'm going to face that corner. So we're going to slowly come up, then we come back down to our laps toward the center, and we're at the center at that point, and then the opposite hand comes up, and I'm taking my left hand to the right corner. So coming down slowly with our breath in the middle, switching hands, coming up, and then coming down just toward the corner of the room. So coming up on with my left hand to the right corner. I have to reject a phone call. I'm in my office. And then switching up and down toward the center, up on the left side and back to the center. Now from here, we're going to do our punching form. And in this one, we're going to have our elbows bent at our sides, like better toward our rib cage there. And we're going to have our left hand in a fist with a palm pointed up and the right hand pointed down. And we're going to just punch straight ahead at shoulder height. And as we bring that in, we rotate our wrists. And now our left hand is going to fully extend into a punching position. And we don't stay there very long. We just switch. So both hands rotate. And now my right hand is in the front, punching, coming back in. And this is another one where we can just breathe in on one side and breathe out on the other. I'm rotating, right hand extended into my fist. So then left hand is punching. So this originated as a martial art. And there are some YouTube videos out there where people actually demonstrate how you can actually use some of these moves and forms as self-defense and things like that. It's just very slowed down. So I'm still punching while I'm talking. So my left hand is extended, and then my right hand, and let's do one more on the left. And from here, we'll do twisting waist, pushing palms. So we're going to be in kind of the same position to start with, except my right hand, I'm going to put my palm forward like stop, shoulder height toward the left corner. So come back into center. Now we don't do both. We don't move both at the same time. And then left hand is in the right corner. Slowly coming back. And then we rotate and we turn our whole selves, and right hand is in the left corner. Then slowly coming back. And again, we breathe in on one side and breathe out on the other. So I won't focus too much on that with this one. And back. Let's do one more on each side.
Can I stop you a minute and ask a question?
Sure.
When you come back to the center on that, what does your hand do at the waist? I can't see what you're doing, and you haven't said.
There's just a second where it's completely in the center. I'm sorry, I'm teaching a Tai Chi class. Sorry, somebody's at my office door. Sorry, I put a sign on my door. Okay, I'm sorry. What were you asking? I got distracted.
Push with your palm, and then you bring it back to about your waist. What are you doing with your hand at that point? Are you making a fist?
I put it in a fist, and I guess that's just naturally what I do. So my fist is facing up when I come back, just as I was in the other form. But it's
okay.
Just, yeah.
Okay.
But so yeah, my hand goes when my hand is out, the hand that's resting is just in a fist waiting. So yeah, I guess I didn't think about that. I'm sorry. But yeah, that hand, it just naturally goes in a fist when I'm not extended. Okay. So after let's see, some people are still going. So the next one we'll do is scooping from the sea. So this is the one where we bend forward a little bit, but only as far as you're comfortable. So we're gonna move our hands off of our lap and we're gonna just reach forward like we're scooping up water in our hands. And we're gonna cup our hands together and then bring them up as if we're gonna drink the water, and then stop there and sort of do an I surrender move where our palms are facing the wall in front of us, like I surrender. And they're at our shoulder, like level with our shoulders. So we're gonna scoot down, cup our hands, come up like we're gonna drink it, and then palms forward at our shoulders. So we breathe in as we're reaching, coming up slowly with our hands, and then surrender. So down, cross, coming up, and surrender. So we'll do that a couple more times. So scooping, coming up, surrender, and we'll do one more from here. Okay, hands together, coming up, and surrender. So we'll put our hands back on our laps, and we're gonna do bouncing a ball, and that's the one where we shift our weight. So in this one, we're gonna bring one hand up, kind of like we did in the commencing form, except when my right hand is up, my right knee is also up. So we just shift our weight a little there, and slowly, with a lot of control, put that down. So we're not getting any work if we just let it fall. We have to control. So my left is up and coming down. So my hand is relaxed, fingers hanging just like they were in the first pose. Knee is up, and then slowly and with control, put it down. And part of it is trying to stay centered and not leaning to the side. It's easy to want to lean to one side when you're doing this, but that's part of the work, is to try to keep ourselves in a sitting upright in a straight line. So coming down, left hand is coming up, down. So we'll do another on each side here. So up on the right, I'm on the right side now, coming down and coming up on the left side and coming down. Okay, so we'll switch gears at this point to our ball form. So I'm going to put my right hand on top of the ball, and you've all been here and know about the ball. So my right hand is on top, and what we're going to do here, open form holding ball, is we're going to turn toward the right and always follow the top elbow toward that corner. So I'm facing that corner and take the ball. So the center of the ball is in the corner of the room. And then I switch hands. So now my left hand is on top, and I slowly rotate. And now I'm facing the left corner. And then I switch hands. So now my right's back on top. And turn to the right. Now, we haven't talked a lot about feet in this, but a lot of times on these going left and right moves, you can always like step out with your left foot when you're going to the left, if that helps you with balance, and step to the right, like, you know, move that foot out to the right when you go to the right. And sometimes that feels good. And if you were doing standing Tai Chi, you would be taking a step to that side. So I'm on the left and I'm switching hands, going toward the right again. We haven't gotten to that, but that's something, once you have the rest of it all figured out, then that's something to just consider that you can do. So I'm going back toward the right, and I'll go toward the left, and then we'll switch and do the single whip. Once my right hand is on top, come back to center and stop. We're going to go straight into the single whip, which is the top hand turns into a bird's beak. and come straight ahead. And then left hand is gonna be palm toward the wall to the left. And then when we come back to the ball, the hand that was over to the left is the top of the ball. So reaching forward with our bird's beak and stop sign hand, and both our hands at this point are at shoulder height. They're not high or low. Coming back to the ball. And I always face the hand that is in the stop sign position here. So face the stop sign hand and come back to the ball, and then I'm facing center at that point. So bird's beak coming forward with the left hand, right hand extended to the right wall, and I'm looking towards my hand. I'm facing that way and back to the ball. And we'll do another one on this side. So bird's beak, there, stop sign hand, facing that hand, and back to the ball. Let's do one more so we end on the right, because I like to do that. So we're going to do bird's beak, right hand extended, and back to our ball. Okay, so from here we'll do parting the wild horse's mane. So when we're back to the ball, our left hand is going to reach up toward the back left corner. That's one of the, we have a couple that do that, toward the back left corner. And it's going to be kind of palm up toward the ceiling. The other hand is fingertips sort of toward the ground, reaching down. And I face the hand that is reaching up. So the hand that has come up, I'm facing it. And then that top hand kind of comes slowly into the ball in front of me. So it just comes back to the ball. So the other hand that's on the bottom, the right hand on the bottom, is going to come up toward the back right corner. The other hand comes down. And then I slowly come back into my ball position. So this one we can inhale on one side, and I'm going a little slow just because I was talking, but and then we're coming back to the ball. So then the right hand comes up, and so we think a lot about opposite motion. So as this hand is kind of coming up toward that corner, the other hand comes down and just sort of does the opposite motion. And a lot of times, if in doubt, that's what we're doing. So if I focus on one hand and don't say anything about the other hand, it's very likely just doing something in a very opposite way, or it makes it a little easier to remember. So I'm reaching up to the right, that right corner, and coming back down to the ball. Okay. So from here, we'll do waving hands like clouds. So we're going to have our palms sort of in an opposite position. So I always, from the ball, I just move my right hand down, move my left hand up, so my palms are in the right place for this when I'm waving hands like clouds. So then right hand is facing the floor, left hand is facing up, just because I, just moved them past each other. Then I follow that top elbow just like we did before, and I go to the left side of the ring, switch hands. So now my right hand is on top, and I go toward the opposite corner. And we can do the step out trick if you're there. Otherwise, we can just turn and you don't have to worry about your feet. So I'm going back toward the left side, and now I'm switching, going toward the right side. If your hands won't go completely straight up and completely straight down and there's a little tilt, that's okay, because some people have wrists that won't just completely do that, as long as they're angled correctly. So now I'm going back toward the left, and I'll go back toward the right, and then we'll go back to our ball. Okay, so from here we're going to do Fair Lady works at shuttles. So the bottom hand, this is one where we put the bottom hand up to our forehead, so the palm is facing in front of us and our thumb is like right at our hairline. And then my right hand is going to go to the left corner, shoulder height. And I come back to the center, and the hand that's on my forehead becomes the top of the ball, and the other hand is the bottom of the ball. So then we switch. So now my right hand is coming to my forehead, and my left hand is going toward the right corner, and I'm facing the right corner. So we just slowly come back to the ball, and I'm kind of centered when, by the time I'm at the ball, I'm centered again. So we're back up to the forehead, and the right hand goes to the left corner. And then slowly turning back to the ball. And then hand to the forehead, left hand to the right corner. And slowly coming back to the ball. Okay, so we'll do another on this side. So hand up to the forehead and then right hand toward the ball. So slowly coming back to the ball. The bottom hand comes to forehead, and then top hand goes to the corner. And back to the ball. Okay. So from here, we'll do repulse the monkey. So the top hand will just come straight, palm down. It's going to come straight in front of us, like at shoulder height. And the other hand is going to reach palm toward the ceiling. It reaches back toward that back corner again. It reaches up, and then once it reaches up and is all the way extended, it's kind of it turns down, and then you're back into your ball. So you just kind of reach back. It's like a swimming motion. So we reach up until our palm is kind of coming down toward the other palm, and we're back at our ball. So that's the sort of sweeping motion. So we reach up toward the back corner, coming, and then it comes down and comes right back into the ball. So the other hand is extended when we do this. So, and I'm reaching back on the right side and back toward the ball. So we'll do one more on each side. So right hand forward, left hand comes up and around and down. And then left hand comes forward, right hand comes up and around and down toward that corner in the back. And we end on the ball. Okay. So from here, we'll do brushing the knee. So right now my right hand is on top. And so my palm is going to come straight ahead toward the camera, like stop. And my left hand is going to come, it's parallel to the floor. So my palm is parallel to the floor, like not parallel. It is, yeah, it's facing the floor. So then I come back and I switch, and now my left hand is on top of the ball and I'm here. So then my left hand comes forward like stop sign, and my right hand is right by my knee toward the ground, palm toward the ground. And then slowly coming back into the ball. So now my right hand is on top. And so now my right hand is coming forward. Left hand is beside my knee, but facing the floor. And back to the ball. And now we'll go left hand forward, right hand toward the knee, and back to our ball. Okay. So from here, my right hand is on top. We're going to do grasping the peacock's tail. So we're in our ball, and we're going to reach to the left side, kind of a swooping, almost hula-like. I don't know if that makes sense, but we're going to sweep up just about shoulder height with the left hand. Right hand is toward the ceiling, just elbow bent. So it's just kind of following with it. It comes down, and then we cross our hands here and their palm up. And then we take the backs of our hands toward the left corner, and we're facing the left corner. We come back in this I surrender position, so our palms are close to our shoulders, and then we push into that corner with our palms. So our palms are toward the corner. And then we come back to the ball with our left hand on top and right hand on the bottom at that point. So we're ready to go to the right side. So we're going to sweep kind of our hula dance. So the back of my hand is toward the ceiling on the right side, and my left hand is palm up. They sweep down slowly. They cross in front of me. And then the backs of my hands are going toward the right corner. Then they come back into the I surrender position, and then I push my palms toward the right corner. And then we're back to our ball. So we'll do it again on the left side. So I'm going to sweep up, and I sweep up just a little past the 9 o'clock position, coming down, crossing hands, hands going toward the corner, back of the hands toward the corner, come back into I surrender position, pushing our palms toward that corner, and then left hand is on top, right hand is on the bottom of our ball. So that always gets us ready. The bottom hand is the one that always sweeps up. So our right hand sweeps up, the left hand just kind of follows it, comes down in front of my knees, crossing the hands, pushing the backs of the hands to the right corner, coming back to the I surrender position, and then pushing into that corner and back to our ball. So we'll do another on each side. So let's go up to the left. We're sweeping up toward the left side, coming down, crossing the hands, backs of the hands toward the left corner, coming back into the I surrender position, pushing our palms toward that corner, and then back to our ball with the left on top, right on the bottom. So we'll do the last one on this side, sweeping up with our right hand, coming down, crossing the hands, pushing the backs of the hands into the corner, coming back into the I surrender position, and then pushing our palms toward that corner, and then back to our ball. Okay, so that was, I feel like that one's the hardest one. So we got through that one. So from here, we're going to take our ball over, directly overhead, just palms toward each other directly overhead. And we're going to do the spinning wheel. So we're going to go 4 times. So I'm at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock. So that's 1. We're going to do 4 on each side. 2, I'm at 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and 12 o'clock. So again, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and last one, 3, 6, 9, and 12. So then we switch directions. We go 9, 6, to 3, to 12. 1. We go again. So 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock. It's 2, 3. Let's see. Back up again. Lost, forgot how to count that time. I'm going around again. I'm at 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock and at 12 o'clock. Okay. So the next one we'll do is spreading our wings. So we're going to start with our hands in prayer position at our chest, so thumbs toward our chest. And then we're going to straighten our arms, and our fingertips are going to come directly to the front wall. And then they open up, and they're shoulder height, open up like we're going to give a big hug. And I sometimes stretch my back there and kind of come back a little extra. And then I come back together with my hands, fingertips toward that wall, and then back into prayer position. So I'm coming forward with my hands, inhaling, exhaling as I open up. And then inhaling as I come together, and exhaling as I come back into prayer position. So coming forward, fingertips toward that wall, open up, coming back together, and back into prayer position. We'll do this a couple more times. So coming forward, opening up, we're going to give a hug, and then back together and back into prayer position. And let's do one more. So coming forward, fingertips toward the front, opening up, and coming together and back into prayer position. Okay, so the next one we'll do is playing with waves. So we're going to have our elbows bent, our arms kind of to our sides against our rib cage, and we're going to have our palms facing in front of us. And we're going to take a breath in as we straighten our arms like we're following a wave. So we just straighten our arms and push directly in front, and then follow those waves back as we come back to our sides. So our palms are still facing the front wall, but we just straighten our arms and then bend our elbows with our palms still pointing in front of us. So I'm coming forward, fully extended, Coming in, and elbows are back in at my sides, and pushing forward. Coming in. This is one where you inhale as you push forward and exhale as you come back in. Okay. So from here, we'll fly like a wild goose. Now this one we're gonna do, it's just like our commencing form, but to our sides. So it's gonna be at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. So we're gonna raise our arms up with our fingers hanging loose. And then we switch positions where fingertips are the last thing down, like we're painting a wall on each side of us with our fingertips. And we're gonna come up and down. We'll do a few more. This feels really good. So we'll come up slowly. We come up to about 2 and 10. Coming down. Now just come down to the sides of my legs here and come up and down. So from here, we'll do pressing palms. So this is our last one. So we'll take a breath. And as we do that, we're going to have our hands facing the ceiling. So thumbs are pointing toward thumbs are kind of facing the wall in front of us. We're going to come up toward our chins with our palms, just fingertips slightly overlapped. And we turn our hands and push downward toward our laps with our palms as we exhale. So breathing in on the way up. Thumbs are always pointing toward the wall in front of me, and then switch, and then they're toward myself on the way down. Palms toward the ground. Okay, so a couple more. So deep breath in, up, and out on the way down. Okay, let's do one more. Up, okay, and exhale on the way down. Okay. So we went, that is about the speed that we go with the other group. How did you feel about that? Because we made it through pretty much all of it. And then we go into the meditation. So how did you all feel?
That's good.
Okay.
I felt like that speed was good. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, you all hung in there. And so that's about the speed, because we finish at about, we get at least 30 minutes in, and then we do the meditation. So it ends up being about 45 minutes in the Tuesday group. And then we just kind of have a little bit of time to, what did we like, what kind of meditations, that kind of thing. But I just wanted to get us there. I'm so excited we got it. We did it at the same speed and got through it, and everybody seemed like they were doing a good job. The ones I could see, it seemed like you all were doing really well. So, yay.
Rachel, do you give some verbal instruction at all for the Tuesday group?
I do. I'll talk us through it while we're doing it, and it's not really that different than what we just did. So if that was okay, I mean, you stop me and help me remember, because I may be a little overwhelmed the first time everybody's together, just trying to track everybody and watch more windows to see if everybody's moving in the right way. But yeah, it'll be very similar to that. I may choose different words when I'm talking to them, but it won't be very different at all. I always talk us through when we're going at the same time. So, yep. Okay. Well, if you all are ready, we'll do the meditation part. If we can stop recording, unless anybody has any questions that we want to get in on the recording or anything else like that. No. Okay.